Hello and welcome to its practice right now for here in Catalonia for Moto GP. As I was putting on my headset just then, I accidentally whacked myself in the jaw, so that was not a great start to practice, I think. And as I'm realising, I do not know which screens I'm on. Yeah. Okay, so now I know which screens I'm on. And the door should be closed in the commentary box. And the door's closed now, thank goodness. And I really dislike this headset of mine. Though I can hear a little bit better than I did earlier on, so that's nice. I'm thinking maybe the track noise has increased. Right, so they are just getting out onto the circuit. I am not liking how close this is. I feel like I would be deafening anyone with headphones on. Also, I don't get what's going on with my hair. Right, so I'm going to pass over to TNT for a little bit just while they get their first sector times in, because obviously I'm doing this solo due to the fact that Joshua Birch is currently doing World Superbikes.
The Honda contract that is on offer in LCR is more of a development one. He will try new parts inside LCR, but it is a factory contract. And for Zarco, I think delivering 2 Suzuki 8-hour wins in the last 2 seasons, delivering in terms of his development into the Honda V4 package, and another couple-of-year contract, and setting himself up for a good ambassador future with Honda, I believe. So yeah, it's a good move all round.
Yeah, it's hard to underestimate Suzuki 8 hours in the minds of the Japanese factories. It is one of, if not the big event for them, but one of those that if you can perform there, it stands you in good stead.
One that matters a lot. You come there as a sort of like a top world-class MotoGP or World Superbike rider, and you go and perform there, and you do make a real mark for the Japanese manufacturer. You know, it's a really important race. Very tough race, very big challenge, and yeah, didn't do any harm to Joan Zarco, winning 2 out of 2 for Honda.
Do you think Hervé Ponchaval's phone might have lit up over the last couple of hours or so? Big announcement coming earlier on that Guenther Steiner has led the acquisition of the Tech 3 Moto GP team with a consortium headed by the former Haas F1 team boss. He'll assume the role of CEO down there at Tech 3. Richard Coleman, who's got experience across from the touring car world as well, he'll be team principal, experience in management as well. And yeah, it's going to be a change in season. Hervé continues to the end of the year. Will continue in a consultancy role for next season, but yeah, it's a huge moment, I suppose, for the team with such a great legacy in the sport.
A huge moment to lose Hervé from the paddock. I know it's not going to happen straight away, but it just feels weird because he's such a pillar of MotoGP. You know, so many years involved in the championship as a team owner, and also as the president of IRTA for many years. So yeah, Hervé will be missed for sure. But he has given so much to the sport. He's built that fantastic team, given so many opportunities to so many riders, including myself, back in 2002 and 2007 again. Gave me my first shot at MotoGP, and he did for many British riders as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, it's been fantastic to have him around the paddock, and we're going to make the most of all the races left with Hervé. The page is turned, and I don't know. Hervé feels like it just feels happy, doesn't it? It looks like he's happy with everything that's going on. And well, Born Mimosa, not a bad place to retire, is it?
It's a beautiful part of France. Even better when you've got circuits on your doorstep. Beautiful part of the country down in the south. And you know what? Hervé will stick around, but if we trade Hervé, we've got another character, haven't we? Guenther Steiner. Nat has been down in the paddock, catching up with him about the news.
Well, Guenther, congratulations and welcome to the MotoGP paddock officially. We know we often see you on the grid, and we know your interest in MotoGP, of course. We believe this has been a couple of years in the making, so tell us how that interest in MotoGP has become that to becoming the CEO of KTM Tech 3, and why you wanted to buy into MotoGP.
Oh, that's a lot of questions here. I was always interested in MotoGP. You know, when I was a kid, I remember Kenny Roberts. You know, and I was lucky enough to get to know Kenny pretty well. You know, so in my later life, not when I was a kid. And but I went into cars, and then I didn't have time to follow. So last year, after I left Haas F1. I went to the MotoGP race in Austin because I was always in contact with Carlos Espeleta because he came to F1 races and we met up and spoke together. So I said, hey, can I come? And he invited me. And there I started to get the idea this would be a cool thing to do a team here. Obviously, you know, I was like, how do you do this? Because you have to go. I didn't know my way around, but I know enough people. And then I just started to work on it. And obviously that was before the Liberty time and all that stuff, you know. So for me, it was not about that one. And in the end, it became, you know, this idea. It became, okay, this actually is doable, and this is what I want to do going forward. You know, I'm doing a lot of other things, and sometimes a few job, you know, in Formula One, you know. So I learned that side as well of motorsport, and but this was a project I just wanted, and you know, I think it's always cool to be investing in something. I set up a lot of things in my life, you know, and. You know, and I love motorbikes and motorsports. I said, let's do it. And obviously, for me, it was no pressure to do it. Like when I started the F1 team, there was no pressure. If it happens, fine. If it doesn't happen, fine. And this was the same. But I want to do it. And normally, when I want to do something, I can get there. And therefore, I own now part of a MotoGP team.
Having run an F1 team, how do you expect a MotoGP team to compare? And obviously, having Hervé in the consultancy role, how important was that in this transition?
I think for me, I've got a lot of respect of people which have been in any business, not only in sports or in motorsports for a while, because experience is time, and you know, you cannot buy time, but you can buy people which have got the experience, which spent the time in it. So for me, it was very important that Hervé stayed on as a consultant next year, so I can learn quicker, because that is the most important thing for me. Because I mean, I know MotoGP a little bit, but I'm not an expert. That's what I need to do. So for me, it's just like learn about the business and try to run it, but to compare it with Formula One is too early for me to compare it, because I don't know enough about it.
How much have you spoken then to Maverick and to Anea, and how much are you looking forward to working with them?
I mean, I met them the first time because we were not in touch with them before. It was nice to meet them. I think they really look forward as well to, you know, just something new for them. You know, it was nice to say hello to them. I just said hello the first time there, and obviously in the next days I go and have a sit down with them, but it will take time to get to know each other. But it's always good when they are welcoming you, because I mean, they're in a very successful team and they didn't need me there, but I think everybody sees that maybe, you know, we can do something cool together in the future.
How exciting a project is this for you then? How much are you looking forward to being here next season?
I'm very excited to be here, otherwise I wouldn't do it. As simple as this. You know, if I would not want to do this, I'm not doing things anymore which I don't want to do.
Well, congratulations. It's great to have you. We can't wait to work with you next season.
Thank you very much, and thanks for having me. Thank you.
And that's a wrap. That's all we've got time for this afternoon on the MotoGP. Wait, look, if we traded in Hervé Poncharal, who could talk the hind legs of a donkey, we've got Guenther Steiner in. Just a perfect replacement.
I was just waiting for him to take a breath. Wow.
Ain't that good, though? Someone who's got a great profile. Many will come to know him through the Drive to Survive programme as well, but a great character as well, bringing to the sport, and undoubtedly the Liberty Media takeover will be part and parcel of it, but hopefully someone like Guenther's presence can bring more eyes onto the sport.
Yeah, certainly when you think of his, he's got charisma for sure, but also the personality that was seen for all the Drive to Survive fans that obviously follow that series, and they may want to put eyeballs on two wheels in the MotoGP paddock, but certainly we're going to have to use the bleep machine a little more frequently, I have to imagine, in our grid interviews and up and down pit lane as Guenther joins the paddock. I look forward to it.
Yeah, we've trained Jack Miller enough, haven't we, over recent years to not necessarily use it so much. We'll have to get it back out for Guenther when he turns out. But yeah, you imagine the synergy there, him and Liberty Media. Obviously, they basically piggybacked off each other, really, to catapult Guenther into focus, and hopefully, yeah, as Michael said, that can have an effect here.
Right, I am taking back control for a little bit. Right, so 49 minutes left of the session. Currently, Alex Marquez has topped the session. Honestly, so far it's been quite a good weekend for Alex. I mean, I know he's been struggling recently as he just goes over a couple of curbs. So if he was going for a fast lap time, which I don't think he was, I think he was on a slow lap, then it would be ruined. But he is currently on a 1:39.074, which is a really good time. I think he can definitely do a bit more. Obviously, this is the longest session of the weekend for some reason. Those who've been watching for a while know my feelings and Joshua's feelings on the reason why this is an hour long. And how we think that it doesn't need to be an hour long, given how many sessions we actually have throughout the weekend. This does not need to be an hour long. Though Acosta is in second, honestly, doing quite decent. Marini's currently in third, fourth is Zarco, Bastianini's in fifth, sixth is Marc Marquez. Neutral seems to be so low, but start the session, it'll be fine. Jack Miller's in 7th, Antonio's in 8th, 9th is Aldeguer, Morbidelli is in 10th. Those 10 are currently set to go through into straight away Q2, sorry. Ah, there's Guenther Steiner, as we just heard him speaking. It's very exciting what's happening there. Hold on. I'll just check if you can't hear me. I'll just check on my end. I'll put you back to TNT. Okay, I'll put you back to TNT for now, see what I can do about the audio.
How they will be in the sprint tomorrow afternoon and the feature race on Sunday. So, yeah, bodes well for Alex. He's got a very small margin over Pedro Acosta, who looks good in all conditions so far, whether that's with new tyres or used, and Luca Marini right there with the Honda.
That's what we like to see, isn't it? And Ea Bastianini's one I'm keeping an eye on this weekend. Just thinking, if we're talking about a tyre life race, keep an eye on the beast. He's there in 7th as Miguel Oliveira is about to tip down pit lane. A reminder that he has lost his ride at the Prima Pramac Yamaha team. What will he do next year? We don't know. We don't know. He will have a look at options. We understand that Aprilia is a possible option, but he wants to race.
Right, I've just checked the audio and it seems perfectly fine, so I don't know what's going on for some people with the audio. Maybe there's a storm brewing or something. It has been quite stormy over the past few days. I mean, there was 2 lightning. There was like 2 thunderstorms over the course of 2 days. So I've checked the audio. It seems to be going fine, though I don't know what's the issue in both of your ends. And that is Morbidelli coming out of the pit lane. What's he checking? He seems to be checking something. Maybe he was checking whether he went over the line. If he's concerned about that, I generally do not think he has anything to worry about. He did not go over the line. 45 minutes left of the session. And it's been quite a calm weekend so far. Notice I didn't say the Q word. So it's been quite calm. Not a lot of crashes. We only had 1 crash, and then that was Jack Miller in last session. And then we did have a stoppage for Bastianini, but that was off track and didn't even bring out the yellows. So I wouldn't so much count that as an issue, and he seems to have got that sorted by now as well. Either that or he's on his 2nd bike, but either way, let's hope that bike is completely fixed by now. A little bit of a wobble there for bsky as he was just heading into the pit lane. There's a lot of wobbling going on. I'm wondering about the wind speed, see if it's quite high. It's only 10 kilometers according to this, but maybe it is quite a bumpy circuit, because I'm seeing quite a lot of the riders slipping on occasion. And here's a replay of Bagnaia, who has been so far having a really bad weekend. Currently he's in 14th. And this is just him going round one of the corners. And is there anything wrong that I can see? Maybe a little bit with the front of the bike, so that could be a problem with the ride height, but that doesn't seem to be causing too much of an issue. Can that person not hold an expensive laptop like that? I'm sorry, it's just one of the engineers, or like the race engineers. They're holding a laptop behind their back via one hand. And not even like holding it like that. They're holding it upwards. Which I get, sometimes you want to hold it upwards, but not when you're holding it behind your back. Oh, that's gonna smash. I just know it. Someone's gonna knock into them. Currently looking at Quartararo. They're all looking behind them. Is this a bumpy circuit or something? Or is it something messing them all up that's causing them to look so concernedly? Is concernedly a word? It is now. I'm making it a word. That's the thing. Sometimes you can just make words because what are words actually? They are just made up words. And I like them. I'm going to look that up in a bit. See if it's a word. Well, I am going to pass over to TNT for now because I believe they're all currently in their I must get information area and there is an interview about to come on.
Closely with for many, many years.
Yes, of course. For sure was somehow for her a very emotional moment. And of course, somehow for all of us. But basically, of course, the reality is that for practical things, for the short term, like next year, and I think also in the future, nothing changed too much. And Herve will be also here with us next year and everything. So, and always nice to see new enthusiastic people from other motorsport who is coming with Mr. Steiner and all the guys who are coming. So just for me, it's just always nice and exciting to have a new support.
In terms of activity on the track so far today, Pedro doing well this morning session and again in this session, and Brad having a good morning as well. What are their thoughts?
It was good start. Good start for us here, and I would say that somehow we follow this trend what we have already many races, that it's step by step we are going the right direction, I would say. And of course the changes also technically what we have changed for the bike in the last months. I expect tracks like Barcelona, next track Misano, faster corners, etc. should fit for technical changes at least.
What are those technical changes have you made, or are you not going to tell us?
Okay, for sure we can talk some changes, some not, but for example, aero package, what we started to use in Austria, this especially would help us in the faster corners here, also in fast part of the circuit in Misano.
Thanks for talking to us, Aki.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, we caught him through everyone trying to make that interview worse there, particularly as they were preparing Pedro Acosta's bike to go out there. But good to hear from Akio. And it feels like the start of the season for KTM, a bit at sea, unknowns about the future of the factory. Yeah, they developed bits, but they couldn't focus all their energies on things. Things were probably tight, budgets, not saying they were cut or anything like that, but probably hard to, to stretch things when you're in that situation. And then suddenly they turned a corner, haven't they? And it feels like all four riders are now on the same page.
Yeah, good technically. I think with all fours beginning to follow a similar path, that's certainly helped. And the recent rounds since turning up in Austria, the home race for the KTM brand, they have delivered, and all riders look happy, consistent. Brad Binder's coming to the fore. It looks like Enea Bastianini's finally clicked with the KTM. Pedro Acosta the last 2 weekends has been superb. And yeah, clearly they were in the doldrums in the early rounds, and they've had to knuckle down and put everything together, and the package looks like it works right now. The strongest engine on the grid, arguably, it does hold the top speed records, but now they're managing to get the lowering device a little better, the aero package better, marry the electronics with that, just make everything work in harmony. And right now the riders are looking fast and strong across the board, so it's good to see some light at the end of the tunnel, which was their probably toughest period of the storied history of KTM to this point.
Yeah, work on the exhaust, the latest. Yeah, lots going on behind the scenes at KTM, but it is encouraging to see. Are we in a situation, we saw Aprilia coming to the fore with KTM in the mix, are we in a situation that Ducati's eye is off the ball?
I don't know, I think we're more in a situation where the other manufacturers are catching up. We've got a massive effort by KTM, by Aprilia, by Honda. Another one that is probably a little bit more long-term, sort of before it delivers, with Yamaha and that new V4. And we've got Ducati that obviously made the most of the current technical rules sort of early on. So they've been dominating the last few years, but it looks like everybody's very much catching up. So the concessions are working, so that's great. And yeah, it looks like we're going to get competition. I mean, at the moment, you know, you would say Ducati's still dominating, but it's not as clear-cut as maybe what we would have expected this winter, for example, before the season started. There is more competition out there. Marc Marquez is clearly making the difference as a rider, and is clearly gelled with that 2025 Ducati really well. But the other guys are close, so yeah, it's good to see, and we're seeing, like, you know, the fact, for example, that Aprilia is not competitive straight away here on this track, when they have historically in the past, it means that technically they've done like a major shift that's allowed them to be competitive on stop and go track. Just look at that shoulder there.
It's always the one,
Turn
the classic.
5.
The Jorge Martin around turn 5. It's brilliant.
It's so hard to do there as well. It's downhill, it's off camber, and you do need to, you know, to like use your body as much as you can to make that bike turn, because the bike naturally does not want to turn in turn 5. It's a left-hander. There's not much temperature in the tires. You've not turned left for quite a while, and yeah, the way he dances with that bike with his shoulder on the ground there, absolutely brilliant.
You know, when I went out to turn 3 earlier today, 2 people stood out impressed with Jorge and Enea Bastianini. The way they're on the inside of the bike there through such a fast, hard acceleration of a corner, just incredible to see their body position.
You went turn 3, weren't you, Gav?
Yeah.
So turn 3 is like what they try and do there. This is where Jorge Martin is, and they'll lean there, and then they'll try and pick up the bike and use his body, so his body stays hanging down, but he reduces the leaning of the bike to gain traction. And it is really impressive because he's fast as well. He's 3rd and then on to 4th, so it's a really quick corner. Loads going on there with the riders trying to find that traction, and then again they do it through turn 4.
So extreme, isn't it, from Jorge Martin? Yeah, I'm not ruling Aprilia out, and that sounds a straight obvious thing to say, but Fernandez is currently 16th, Martin 18th, Bezzecchi 20th, but it just doesn't feel like that's necessarily going to be the story, because Aprilia have had really good times here in recent years.
Yeah, it's been a strong track for Aprilia. Obviously, a track that Aleix Espargaro has always gone good at, whether he was on a Suzuki and Aprilia, and even this weekend as a fill-in rider at Honda, as a wildcard rider on the test team. It's always worked for Aprilia. The nature of the circuit, the flow of it. We spoke to Paolo Bonora last time in Hungary, and he was quite positive that coming here with the bike on current form, that they would be strong. Perhaps they're a little bit miffed, or maybe just that there's a strategy in place in terms of tyres, but at the moment Martin languishing further down the order than they would expect. It's certainly Bezzecchi on recent form. He's 1.1 adrift, which yeah, when you're matching the same times as Lorenzo Savadori, your test rider, which Bezzecchi's normally quite a way in front of, there's definitely some more margin out there for the Aprilia boys.
It's good to see Brad Binder have a Friday. It's good to see him able to ride like he's able to. It feels like the bike's listening to him.
It feels like it's getting there step by step, maybe taking a little bit more time than the other KTM guys, but you've got to remember it took the other guys some time to click with the bike and make the whole package work. So we know Brad has got this unique riding style, you know, he slides the bike around in the corner entry, and he's very unique in the way he does that, and that means that sometimes it's really hard to find pace, or that means sometimes that you can generate pace when the others can't. You know, when you're that unique. But just look at his style there. It's brilliant. He's got a new. I think was that a first time at that? It's a bit early on. Maybe he started on a used medium and then went to the soft. But yeah, Brad Binder looking good in P3 for now.
I've got to say, when I watched the race in Austria, and I was watching Binder's lap times. He was matching Marc Marquez pretty much every single lap from the halfway point to the end of the race, and I was like, well, that's incredibly positive. He now knows the rhythm's back, it's there, he just needs to fix Friday afternoon, he gets through to Q2 and your weekend's on. Yeah,
I had a really good chat with his crew chief, Andres Madrid, after that race, and they actually felt they had something. They felt their fuel economy was better in Austria. They felt that the latter stages of the race they had that a little bit more, but by then they were just too far back. And it's all got to be now putting a whole weekend together, and it's happening for Acosta, but for Binder it's not too far away. So let's hope so.
Started to happen for Bastianini as well. Once he got the qualifying sorted, it makes such a big difference. I mean, we say it every single weekend or every single session, but qualifying is so important. You need to be on those roads. You miss the train to start with, you're in the wake of the other bikes, your tires can overheat, and so on. So it is majorly important to be, you know, at the front of the race early on. So yeah, Brad needs to try and improve that. And yeah, like Michael said, his race pace there in Austria was amazing. So let's see. I think it's coming for Brad, and also he's not one to give up, is he? I mean, he's always, even when he's struggling, you know, he's always positive, always fighting, always, you know, put his race pace on and goes for it. So that you've got to give him credit for that.
Do you know what he doesn't do? Do you know what he doesn't do? And I speak to Brad a fair bit. He doesn't ever make excuses.
No, and he doesn't moan either.
He doesn't. He just says, "Oh, I need to improve. I need to get better," or "Oh, I need to try harder," or, you know, he won't say, "Oh, the bike's rubbish, the bike's this and that." Just cracks on. And he has been on that KTM now. This is his 6th season on it. You know, he's changed with him, and as it's needed to change again onto the next level, it's meant a style perhaps that he's had to adjust that little bit more to this year. And when he's seen that style develop over with KTM, perhaps the fact is that's been a bit harder for him to get used to this year, the way that Vinales has actually changed how they need to ride.
Certainly, yeah, the development has been focused maybe a little bit around Brad, but yeah, I think that's why KTM love him. You listen to Pit Bayer and the guys down there speak, they love Brad's never say die attitude, the fact that he always holds himself accountable makes the difference, and you know that he's going to turn things around. He's just that type of a character. He will dig deep.
So we go on board here with Marco Bezzecchi. We talked about don't count out the Aprilias, he's on a fast lap here. In the meantime, let's go down to pit lane where Lucio Cecchinello, boss of course of the Honda LCR Castrol team, is talking to that.
With some recent results, but he looks to have hit the ground running here in Barcelona today. Only 0.2 off the top in this session, so comfortably into Q2. Has he had a better feeling so far today?
Yeah, definitely better feeling. I mean, of course, as you know, the riders, when they have not really clear where, you know, how will be their future, I think, you know, this also made him a little bit, let's say, under stress. Now that everything is fixed, everything is clear also for the next 2 years, he now is back, fully concentrated on his bike, and that's encouraging. The current results are encouraging, yes.
As you say, that contract and his signature secured not just for 26, but a new era for MotoGP in 27. How important is Joan to the development of this project, not just in recent years, but in the future?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Honda have made a lot of evaluation on his performance, but also on his experience, and the feeling he has with the MotoGP bikes is really high level. You know, he have worked, as you know, with different manufacturers, with through the years the tire development. It's very important, and Honda really believe that Johan Zarco could represent a real asset for developing the 2027.
It's great to see Somkiat back, of course. It's fair to say he's found the season in the Premier class pretty tough, hasn't he? And that's a seat that hasn't been confirmed yet. Can we expect an announcement on that soon?
Well, Honda is still considering what to do for the future. I am not part of this kind of decision. As you know, the right part of the garage is pretty much managed by Honda. We made all the team operation for them. and I believe that they will decide quite soon.
Thanks for talking to us, Lucia.
Thank you.
Another politician, present to there, Lucia Cecchinello. We understand Somket Chantra will be out, Diogo Moreira will be in. We swap a tie for a Brazilian, so we've got another nationality represented in MotoGP next year. Somket Chantra, possibility I've heard of World Superbike. They might even look at him for the factory HRC team over there. It's a possibility, or at least if not for the MIE squad. Just hasn't worked out for him this year. Good Moto2 rider on his day, but back from injury this weekend, but we'll probably have to find pastures new.
Yeah, he's been struggling. I mean, he started really well actually in Guiram. Did a really good home round, and yeah, looked like full of promises, and then he started to struggle. So yeah, it looks like he's heading that way. We know that the Japanese manufacturers, they tend to not want to, you know, throw the riders away like that, and he's only had 1 year, and you would feel a bit sorry for him. So yeah, I can see that him getting a good opportunity in World Superbike if they got a set or a seat, and then Honda wanted to keep him in the, you know, in the Honda squad and a Honda supported rider. So we'll see. How exciting would it be to see Diogo Moreira there on a MotoGP? I mean, with that riding style, it's so clean and so nice to look at the way it rides a Moto2 bike. I can't wait to see him on a GP bike.
Yeah, it will be, and great to have Brazil represented. In theory, we go to Goiânia, all being well. We'll be back in Brazil for the first time in 22 years. I think 2004 was the last time we were down there in Brazil. Do you remember being there,
Rio,
Silva?
yeah, Copacabana.
No, I never made it. I never made it. We won't be in Rio, though, of course, up in the interior.
It was a great round though, wasn't it? I mean, the track was rubbish.
It was awful. The track was awful. But everyone loved it. I've no idea why. Everyone loved travelling to Rio de Janeiro for a race. Weird that, isn't it? It was one of those sketchy weekends you think back. You think, how did we make it through? How on earth did we get through those weekends? I have no idea. In the midst of time, lost all those stories, thankfully, for the best it is. There is Fermin Aldeguer out on track, just got up into 11th place. Now I wonder if he's going to sneak one of these Q2 spots. This last part of this session, it's not quite there yet where we're going in for these fast laps, but it's going to come soon, isn't it? Because the times are tight. 0.3 of a second down to Ayogura, who's in 10th place. Jack Miller is in one of the top 10 spots at the moment. This is going to be fierce to try and get through.
It is, yeah. We've got Aldeguer, who's on a decent run at the moment. He's on a personal best at sector 3. I'm not sure if that's going to be enough. He needs a good last sector to get through, but yeah, I think when you look at Aldeguer, Digi, Quartararo and the Yamaha's struggling a little, but with Miller inside that top 10 and Alex Rins jumping up the order a little bit, dropped down to 17th now. Does look like Yamaha's fortunes are turning around a little bit this afternoon session.
Mark still on the race rhythm run.
Yeah, I mean, you always get sort of like two kind of rhythms, you know, wherever we go. The race-based rhythm that riders, especially confident riders, work a lot at it. The more confident the rider, the more he'll work at the race pace and not bother too much about where they're sitting on the times. And then you got a time attack. And here in Barcelona, there's a huge difference. It's one of the tracks where there's the biggest difference. I mean, you just look at the all-time lap record, which is a qualifying lap by Aleix Espargaro last year, of 38.1, and then the all-time race lap best time is Pedro Acosta last year, 39.6. That's a second and a half difference. It's huge. So we're going to see again a big difference within the time attack and the race pace that it can sustain. I would say here that, I mean, you put a set of new tyres around here and a low load fuel because of the low grip overall on the track. When you put the new tyres, it's like Christmas. It's like you've got grip everywhere, and you can drop your lap times by a second and a half. So it's a very different exercise there, and we're going to see a dogfight. It's going to be super tight to try and get in that Q2.
We're already on it now, Silva. Look at Vinales down in 24th. He's taken a few laps off in this session. Probably his shoulders a bit sore coming back to the action. But that looks like a first time attack, doesn't it?
He does, yeah. New tyres, new soft rear, and some guys, like I said the more confident the rider and the team is, the more they will try and work at the race pace and not bother about the times. We had that with Marc Marquez this morning, Alex Marquez, Fermin Aldeguer actually as well. Only used 2 tyres this morning, one front, one rear. So he went all the way through the session with the same tyres. So we're going to see some surprises when, you know, these guys put a new tyre, they're going to jump and they're going to make a big improvement and come to the top.
Well, Marc Marquez has just put 15 straight laps in. It's not been in, they've just filled it up and basically said, do a 3/4 race run, and that's what he's done.
Right, so there are 23 minutes left of the session. Alex Marquez still leads with a 1:39.074. Very good from Alex. Acosta still second. Binder's now in third. Marini's in fourth. Zarco is in fifth. Sixth is Bastianini. Marc Marquez in seventh. That is incredibly unusual for Marc. I don't know what's going on with him. At least he's still through to Q2 at the moment, but very concerning. Jack Miller is in 8th, Bezzecchi is in 9th, and Aldeguer is in 10th. And this is a very bumpy circuit, I am noticing, and it's causing quite a lot of problems. Maybe that's why Marc is having so many issues, and I think Bagnaia does have an issue with his right-hand device, you know. Also, I looked it up, concernedly is actually a word. I was very surprised to know that. I generally thought my brain was just making words up, but no, it is an actual word. And, hold on, I shall tell you what it means. It's an adverb in the manner of showing concern, worry, or trouble, and derived from the adjective concerned. So apparently it is a word. Learn something new every day. I mean, I was already using the word, but nice to know if I wasn't just speaking gibberish. It's always nice to know. Right, it's yet again remaining to be quite a calm session. No one seems to have lost it round any corners, which does give some hope to the race not being as chaotic as the other races that we have had recently. So no risk, or at least lower risk, of the riders being thrown over the bike, which has been happening far too often recently. Right, so... Ooh, he was not happy with that. Viñales right there, despite going into 12th, he did not seem very happy with that, and he definitely... He went like this, and it's gone wide, and so is Chantra, so... a lot of them are going wide. And I can see that that is going to happen during the race and the sprint race. This track is going to be problematic, but not in the way the corners are, in the way they are designed. Like for space. So many people are going to lose their lap times. Right, so I'm going to pass on to TNT yet again.
Yeah, he's a good rider, you know. He's
absolutely.
It's not easy, and yeah. The thing is, if you've just got the 1 year, it's very, very tough to make your mark. It's very tough to be, you know, competitive straight away. He's also obviously jumping on the Honda that is, let's say, work in progress. You know, we're seeing all that work now paying off.
Well,
for the factory guys.
Nakagami's come in this year and almost done better when he's come in as a wild card, hasn't he? I know he.
So there's that as well. So you've got to try and learn the category, adapt to the tracks, and so I'm not making excuses there. I'm just saying 1 year is a short time to show all your potential.
So 20 minutes to go in the session. Pecco Bagnaia back down pit lane, working on the medium tyres, working towards Sunday. It feels like Aprilia have been doing the same. Nat can get the lowdown from Paolo Bonora, team boss, in pit lane.
Well, Barcelona has been a great track for you guys, hasn't it, in recent years with Aleix and Maverick. And we know how well the Aprilia works on these low grip circuits. What have you been working on this morning? What have Marco and Jorge been saying after this morning?
Yeah, to be honest, since this morning they found they struggle a bit to find the correct grip with this setting bike. So we are now trying to finding the way to solve this problem. But honestly, since the last 2 races, we know that during the Friday, we found a little bit difficult to be already ready with a good settings, and we are confident during this session to fix few things in particular on the rear grip, because as you know, in 2023 we had such a good race weekend with the first and second place. But last year we struggled a bit with the rear grip, in particular in the last part of the race. And during the test we found not the ideal situation for us. So now we are trying to understanding very, very carefully. And luckily both of the riders has the same comment as last races. So it is an advantage because it is helpful for the technician to find their way.
Thank you, Paolo. Appreciate your thoughts.
Thanks so much.
Yeah, good to hear that it's been a struggle. Again, they wouldn't want to turn up and be in the position they've been in. They've had work to do, but recent races told them they can turn things around, and a few changes to the bike probably during the day, find that little bit of grip, and they'll be there. It feels like they're going to be there.
Yeah, it's funny though to see that this tendency of, you know, started the Friday on the back foot and turning the situation around is sort of sticking with them now on different tracks and on very different layouts or grip levels. So it seems like they've got a new way to work, or basically a new like sort of base bike that is sort of not very efficient to start with, but they can tune it in, they can understand it, and they can make it more efficient. So that's nice to see. I mean, we know that Aprilia was kind of, well, they were weaker on the stop and go tracks. They managed to fix that on the last 2 tracks, especially in Balaton, where I mean, that was like if you're going to have a stop and go track, Balaton was like a go-kart track for MotoGP. It was just
stop, wasn't it?
It was just
not a lot of go.
No, yeah, very short goes and very strong stops. So, and very slow, sort of, you know, quirky chicane. So they made it work there, and yeah, it looks like it's a bit the same scenario here. I would just say, Paolo, just shorten that swing arm, get some rear grip, and that'll be fine. There's more to that.
Jorge Martini's currently last, but let's see if that turns around over the next 16 minutes as Enea Bastianini sets off on his first flying lap. Marco Bezzecchi about to do the same. Bastianini's the one to keep an eye on, currently running in 6th place. Has been getting through into Q2 in recent rounds, has been in the mix. Unfortunately, all went to pot, didn't it, on both the sprint and the main race last time. Austria showed the direction. Podium back in Brno. It's a different story for Enea in recent weeks. As he comes around, look at that style, is he very similar to Jorge Martin, the way he drops it down through turn 4, now into 5. Quite as extreme as Martin would be through there. Little kink at turn 6, and there you can see Bastianini is under through that second split. Found Michael early on in this season, putting the soft tyre in, didn't help him at all.
No, it was creating its own issues, but it looks like they figured things out, weight distribution, balance. He's got that feeling back, and you know that Enea can be dangerous in races like this when the tyres, in terms of consumption, he's lost a little bit there in sector 3. But yeah, this could be a good weekend for Enea Bastianini. And you mentioned the body language, you see how he gets down off, and that's what helps him find a little bit of traction when grip's low, using the angle of the bike to turn, then using his body to keep it turning as he picks it up. 4th sector here.
Scrapping with the bike over the top there, wasn't he, through the stadium?
Looks good, even through this third gear corner. You see how he uses his body there. Absolutely brilliant. I mean, yeah, just for style, that deserved the pole. Yeah, and he gets it. Good.
Original pole.
It's still quite a bit slower than last year, though, because it's so much hotter. So, yeah, the hotter the track gets, the more sleepy it will get. And obviously, these times were set last year in was it in November?
Yeah, middle of November.
Much cooler, wasn't it? So they're going to struggle to beat that record from Alessio Spargo last year, but
yeah, the pole from May, though, we came here in May last year, 138.1.
And much faster.
But that was pole, so we'll see what we get over the next 14 minutes or so. haven't seen Marc Marquez put in his lap, and here's his first. 2/10 under halfway round. He has been putting so much work in on used tyres. You can see the bike squirming around underneath him there, up the hill through turn 9.
Yeah, pumping up the hill. He's asking for as much horsepower, as much of the 300 odd brake horsepower as possible through the rear tyre. Almost half a second under.
How does he stop that? You see the bike there, the load on the front tyre. Unbelievable. Just Mark is just so good at that exercise. New racing helmet this weekend. Well,
yeah,
paint.
It's got, looks like the design of the pavement that you get around Barcelona. You see like the little floral design on it. That reminds me of the paving stones that you get down the Ramblas in the middle of Barcelona. That's what it looks like. I haven't seen a press release on what it is yet. I'll have to have a look later on in the day.
That was good. And Mark is fast in the last second.
Wow.
Yeah, there's another can.
You can't go round right-handers though.
Yeah, yeah. Fast right-handers are his kryptonite. Yeah, quite clearly. He, well, briefly was half a second quicker than anyone. But then Johan Zarco has cut that deficit down to 0.067. So Zarco up into second place, and that could well be a Q2 spot right there for Johan Zarco. Bear in mind, Zarco in recent rounds, 18th he was in Hungary, 12th on the grid in Austria. Jack Miller up to 4th. Yamaha's not supposed to work here. How long will he stay inside that top 10?
Bsky up into the top 10. First signs from Aprilia. Still 1 second adrift though. But actually third place is half a second adrift as Acosta jumps up into that third position, 4/10 adrift.
Marc Marquez showing straight away with the soft tyre in that he's been working on race pace all weekend.
Right, so going to pass back over to me right now. 12 minutes left to go of the session. Marc Marquez is currently on top of the board right now. I don't know why I said it like that. With a 1:38.444. Zarco is second. Alex Marquez has gone up into third. Acosta is fourth. Is that Bastianini? Bastianini is in fifth. I'm moving back to this one, it's easier. Bastianini's in fifth. Sixth is Jack Miller. Oliveira is in seventh. Very good job for Oliveira. Aleix Spargro is in ninth. Very good job for Aleix. Rins is in ninth. I'm sorry. Aleix was in 8th. Don't know why I said 9th. I was looking at Rins. Martin was in 10th. And that is Bsky jumping up into 4th. And then Acosta jumping up into 3rd. And then Mia going up into 6th. Everyone seems to be gaining their times quite quickly now, all crossing the line. Acosta's looking to be improving quite a lot. At least on that. That is behind on this. Right, so Binder goes up into 4th. Alex Marquez is about to set a new time. I reckon that might put him into 3rd position. And Oliveira seems to have backed out of his lap time. I don't know why. That is Alex Marquez going into 1st. Very good job from Alex. Either way, it's a Marquez dominating the top with a 1:38.349. And I can see slight improvements from Bagnaia down further at the bottom, along with Quartararo, Aldeguer, and Martin seems to have backed out of his improvements. But Bagnaia could go a little bit further. I think he actually might go, I want to say 13th is the area that he'll end up going. Quartararo might be around the same area, though I reckon he might actually go 10th. So, going to cross the line in a few seconds' time. Right. As I still hate this headset. And that is Bagnaia crossing the line and going into 19th. Very disappointing it's been for Bagnaia at this track so far, or at least today. Let's hope he wakes up tomorrow for the sprint and the qualifying session and the practice session. Feeling a lot more refreshed, and Quartararo actually goes 9th, so he actually is above of what I thought he would be compared to what Bagnaia did. Poor Bagnaia. Right, so 9 minutes left to go of the session, and everyone seems to be changing up the order at a continuous pace. I'm going to pass back over to TNT for a few minutes.
9.3. Let's see if Pecco can build a little bit more into this. Well, that's not quite there. Fabio Quartararo goes in 9th. So we've got Oliveira in 8th and Quartararo in 9th for Yamaha. Still only 2 Ducatis in the top 10. Brad Binder in 5th. This is a good session. I could not pick. If someone offered me £1 million to pick the top 10, wouldn't have a clue. Wouldn't have a clue what we're doing.
And it's tight as well.
I'd have a go for £10, to be honest. I'd still get it wrong.
Yeah, outside the top 10 then, Gav, who's going to trouble the order? I think there's definitely Anea Bastianini has a bit more in him out there today.
Yeah, he's dropped out of the 10, hasn't he? Yeah, I think Anea to get inside that 10. Martin, always fancy Jorge for a one-lap wonder, don't you?
You do. Maverick Vinales around here with KTM's working.
Just want to worry about his shoulder today after one session earlier.
The time attack as well. You do have to sort of override the bike and be strong on the bike. So yeah, for Vinales, that shoulder injury is obviously nowhere near 100%. So yeah. It's going to be a tough weekend for Vinales, and I think he's going to get more sore every session. The shoulder is going to hurt.
This has quickly become the most important session of the weekend for any riders. Quartararo recently has been able to somehow make his way through. He was on the second row of the grid back in Hungary, wrestling the Yamaha around, and in qualifying trim, puts it up into 4th place, finds grip where he can't find it in race trim, and you're not going to count him outside of the top 10.
No, I think it's the same. It's sort of like the same scenario. Like Fabio still with the pearl necklace on. Did you see that? He's got this massive. I don't know how this is not breaking or it's just floating around. And I'm not sure why he's wearing this, but yeah, I hope it doesn't break.
It was a chest protector one year, wasn't it? Flapping about here in Barcelona, cost him a race win or a podium at the very least.
DG's back. That's good to see because he was struggling as well.
But only top 10, and that will go. He'll have to go quicker. We're in that interim period, aren't we, at the moment, where a lot of riders are back in. Whoa! Top Rack's coming next year into Moto GP.
They're all practicing there not to get outdone on the stoppies, but Top Rack, it's going to be a tough cookie to break for that because he's the king.
Even Jack's a little bit nervous about having someone in the garage alongside who can stop you a little better.
Yeah, in terms of Quartararo, only talk about the V4 now, which we will see a first incarnation of. Well, not first incarnation, but first time we'll see it in race trim in Misano with Augusto Fernandez.
You should see how far off the pace it is, because
I love the way you said that. Like, we know it's going to be off the pace.
Yeah, it's bound to be. Yeah, it has to be. Completely new concept, new engine, new everything. Everything has to be sort of new on the bike. So,
erstwhile colleague Neil Morrison, I heard a comment that he made yesterday was, well, Honda have had a V4 for God knows how many years, and look where they are at the moment. It's not just he switched to a V4 and suddenly everything's done. But I heard a comment from Paolo Pavesio that when we go 850 with a reduction in aero, just the way the bikes are going to work, you're going to need more power than you can use, essentially, and they feel that's why they have to go the V4 route and they have to start it now to be getting that information. I know there's probably two schools of thought of it. Stick to what you know, stick to your strong suit, play the cards that you've had, but the feeling across the board there in Yamaha is what, V4 or bust now.
Yeah, they need as much power as possible for every cubic centimetre inside the chambers, so the crankshaft on a V4 is stronger, it takes more abuse, it can be worked harder, and that's what they got to do. So I think that's why the decision has been made. They need every ounce of horsepower, and yeah, there's still going to be aero at play, so they're going to have to use it with the 850cc's available. And yeah, I think I'm excited to see it, the 1000cc V4 on track, and the know-how that they're going to learn over the last part of this season with the test team and Augusto Fernandez wildcarding over the winter, and we expect to see all 4 Yamahas on the V4 next season on the grid. It's an exciting time, but a shame to lose the last inline 4 from MotoGP, but it's just the way the times have evolved with aerodynamics.
And it'll be a 1-year engine.
Yeah, but they'll be able to use, you know, the knowledge and understand about that different configuration. Understand as well, you know, it's not just the engine, because the engine is a different shape. It's narrower and longer. They have to put it in the frame differently. They have to have a different chassis, basically. So everything will be different about that B4 bike. They'll be learning a lot, and they'll get a lot of data that they can then apply to the new 2027 rules.
Marco Bezzecchi up into 3rd place, Jack Miller into 9th place, just ahead of his teammate Miguel Oliveira, as Enea Bastianini currently down in 15th, but pushing on here into turn 10. Just over 3.5 minutes to go in this time practice session. It's the Barcelona-Catalunya round of the championship, round 15. We feel like there's a chance for people to stick it to Marc Marquez this weekend. Might be a faint hope, but there's hope nonetheless. Alex Marquez currently topping the timesheets. The KTM's looking good. The Aprilias we expect to have a shot. Hondas have looked great so far this weekend. Out of the final corner, Morbidelli goes 4th. Bastianini up into 4th. Agura, Ayogura for the Trackhouse Aprilia goes into 7th place.
Binder is 3 tenths down.
Wow. Halfway round and Binder goes top. 1-2 for the Red Bull KTM squad. And it's Brad Binder. Hang about. Have I got my dates wrong?
Yeah.
How good is that to see?
Is it Friday?
Binder in the first 2 rows, Binder starting well and Binder at the front of the race.
Oh, don't whet my appetite. That gets me excited to the idea that you could have Brad Binder starting never on the front row of the grid. That's just almost unheard of. Look at Brad Binder's racing career, and you go through, there's someone who's done 250 Grand Prix, 7 poles. He's only had 1 since he left Moto3 as the world champion. 1 pole position in Moto2 and in MotoGP. Never had one in the Premier class, but he's currently top in this time practice session.
And it's also an all-new lap record. He just went on the Spargaro, didn't he?
Good spot.
Yeah.
Good spot.
What a lap. Come on, Brad. I mean, this is something I'm really excited about. Brad Binder, the return of Brad Binder.
And he's going again.
In the front.
Oh, get Brad Binder's teeth into this circuit. Yes, please.
Come on.
So, as Miguel Oliveira showing that he's not a spent force in MotoGP, dropping down the hill through turns 13 and now into the last corner of...
There's a yellow out on the track, sectors 1 and 2, and I believe it is Zarco. Zarco's not having a good time of it yet again. I was saying earlier about he's either having a really good time or a really bad time, and given that he is 7th right now, I think it's a bit of both. So, has he got moving again? I don't think he has. He crashed into the barrier or something. No, I'm guessing he must have just gone wide or slipped and managed to pick up the bike again. But, another yellow in sector 1 this time. There are too many yellows going on right now. And who's that? It's one of the KTMs. The airbag's definitely gone off. It's Bastianini. He's in 6th, coincidentally. Are they going up the order? If they are, then Bezzecchi, watch out. Yeah, the airbag is crashed down at turn 2, and the airbag's definitely deployed quite a lot. Is this him? Ooh. Oh, that went to a barrier. I do not like how low those barriers are. He lost it at the entrance of turn 2 and then went to the gravel and the bike just started flipping, and so did he. Obviously, he didn't hold on to the bike because it's not a Costa. So, that's something to be wary of. Let's hope they can fix that bike. They will be able to fix that bike before tomorrow. I'm going to pass back over to T. Oh, actually, no, I'm not. Not right now. I'm going to read out the results because the checker flag has just started waving. And it's honestly, well, it is the end of the session. Right, so currently, top of the board, very unexpectedly, Brad Binder with a 1:38.141. Acosta is in second, his teammate, I believe, with a 1:38.245. Alex Marquez is in third with a 1:38.280. Mark is in fourth. Fifth is Bezzecchi. Bastianini is in sixth. Seventh is Morbidelli. Zarco is eighth. Marini is in ninth. Iagora is in 10th. That's a very unusual top 10, but all 10 of those are going through straight away into Q2. So very good for them. I think this is Iagora's first time going straight away into Q2 as well. Right, so those going straight into Q1 will be Quartararo, who's in 11th. 12th, who is Oliveira. Mir in 13th. 14th is Aldeguer. Miller in 15th. 16th is Rins. Digentonio in 17th. 18th, Martin. Ralph Fernandez is in 19th. 20th is Aleix Spargaro. Bagnaia in 21st. 22nd is Salvadori. Vinales is in 23rd and Chantra in 24th. Very unlucky time for quite a lot of the usual regulars from Q2. Especially for that of Digentonio and Bagnaia. I don't know what's been up with Bagnaia today, but he has had such a bad time of it. And you can't help but feel there's something more going on with that bike than meets the eye. Something that's not affecting Mark. I'm going to pass over to TNT. Now that I have read out
in the braking zones as well. Now they've found that efficiency when they tweak that engine brake mapping, and looks like everything is falling into place for them. So yeah, let's not forget the track condition here as well. Very similar to some years ago what we found in Brno for the Brad Binder win, 2020. That was it? Yeah,
it was. Yeah.
It's very similar
in the championship. Brad Binder's third MotoGP race.
The way Brno felt then would feel the track here today would feel exactly the same. So there's loads of sort of good signs there put it all together. The Brad Binder on top, that's made my day, that bit.
Yeah, mine too. Good to see. Marc Marquez just punched his brother on the shoulder when they stopped for their practice starts. Was unable actually to get a second go in. I'm not even sure if he, don't know what tyre he's running at the back there. Yeah, he did have the soft tyre in, but both of his laps were just non-entities, weren't they? Just yellow flags. Frustration from Fabio Quartararo nonetheless.
Did you hear what he was saying there, Gav?
No.
Just missing out 11th. It's always hard to take when you're 0.03 of a second outside a passage through to Q2.
Hey, let's give credit to Iagura and Trackhouse Aprilia. Back inside the top 10. Had a good ride, actually. Went a little bit under the radar back when we were in Hungary. Iagura from 21st on the grid, finished in 11th. The Aprilias came through. And maybe that's something to think about on Sunday as well. Remember Ralph Fernandez? Was it here last year?
It was runaway sprint
in the sprint, leading. No one wanted to win on that occasion.
That's true.
Crashed out. Brad crashed out of the lead, didn't he? Yeah, in that one. Let's see, put down there. Mark Lloyd and Bjorn Esman, who looks after the Binder brothers. There's Nani Roma, Dakar winner, down by the garage. His wife Courtney, and little baby Navy down. Ah, very cute to see. Isn't it nice to just see some smiles on the faces down there on Brad Binder's side of the garage?
Yeah, they've been through it this year. None of them lost any belief in Brad. They all knew he was more than capable. It's just taken a bit of time to get him as comfortable as...
Right, so that is the end of the practice session for MotoGP here for the weekend at Catalonia. And I believe F1 on the main channel will be in about an hour's time for the free practice 2 session. Thank you for watching, and please join us throughout the rest of the weekend for MotoGP. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.